Hey guys, I got a little nudge to make a video for those of you who are feeling like this sense of purposelessness or hopeless, or maybe you're feeling like totally defeated and just helpless, you know? Or there could be this sense of like you're disconnected from your purpose or disconnected from meaning. You could just feel like you're just kind of adrift at sea. Like there's this big sea in front of you and you're in this rudderless boat. And no matter how hard you try to paddle anywhere, it doesn't really matter. And it can be, a very lonely feeling. You can feel really isolated. And this is also a space where there could be a lot of deep grief. You could be a lot of tears flowing through. I know I was just randomly hiking yesterday and I was just crying. And let this emptiness be a gift to you. Let it be a blessing to you. A lot of times when we're feeling this emptiness, this purposelessness, this meaninglessness, the void, this is when we might reach for something. We really want to reach in this place to try to fill the space with something, right? But what the Divine Mother is saying is that this is a blessing. Because it's in this emptiness, it's giving deep stuff, darkness, wounds, shadow, a chance to come up, to be seen. So notice the other side of the coin of feeling empty of desire. Maybe you're not even desiring things. Maybe you just feel almost like a nihilism, Notice the other side of the coin of that is a lot of space. Like this spaciousness is here. And so maybe you don't have a lot of motivation to go and do things. Right now is not a time to do things. And she was telling me earlier today, it's like no force. A lot of it, when we're in this space, it can feel scary to our psyche. We can get scared, that's where the feeling of isolation comes from, or we feel like, oh my gosh, life's gonna abandon me if I'm not doing something. Because, we've been really programmed that we always have to be in the masculine. Especially men, but pretty much everyone. And so this sense of concern can arise when we're being guided to not do anything. And all those programs of hopelessness, meaninglessness, abandonment, like some deep grief, all of that stuff can start coming up. And so I want you guys to know, just like, don't be alarmed. You're here ultimately to hold space for yourself and for the collective. You're here ultimately just to be here. That's your mission's complete. All of your guys' missions, who's watching this, you did it. You're here during a very pivotal time on Earth. You brought your light here. You don't have to worry about doing more than that. If it's a divine impulse and divine inspiration to do more, amazing. Like this video, I got a nudge and I was like, I didn't have much to say because I'm in emptiness myself. But she was like, and just say some things that could help others not feel alone, at least. And that was a divine inspiration. There's not a personality here making this to to be productive. And so that's what it's becoming more refined, I feel, right now in the collective consciousness, in the collective energy field, For those of you who have been doing the work here, and by doing the work, I mean just being conscious on earth, you'll notice it's really hard for you to take action right now unless it's a divine impulse, unless it's coming from your higher self. It's really hard to get the personal will ginned up to do something that's not in alignment, right? It's hard to do that forced masculine kind of thing, to just be, we got to just do something because that's what the programming has always said we need to do. I can almost feel the relief of that program falling off of me, falling out of my field. I still get caught up in it sometimes. It's normal. I can still get a little unsettled by nothingness, by just being, my Western programming will come up and say, but you know, a lot of these survival fears about how life doesn't support us just for existing. And, you know, the divine is fully balanced in this way. And when it's time for you to take action, you'll have that energy to take action, and you'll know it's true. It'll feel true in your being, and it'll be an effortless action in a sense. It doesn't mean it'll be easy or there won't be challenge, but you'll know it will be true because it will feel inspired. You know, it might be really hard, it might be scary, but it will be inspired. It'll be full of light. It'll feel alive. That's what we have to do more and more, is we can only really do what feels alive. I have a really hard time doing something if it's not alive. Because if it's not alive, that means there's not anything, there won't be karma like burned from it or something. If it, you know, that's why when things feel alive, they could be really hard. Something might not even work out that felt really alive, work out in the human sense, but you learned something, your soul learned something through it. You burned away a lot of karma doing it. And that's the essence of what we're here to do, is to learn on a soul level and burn through karma. And actually right now, I think a lot of us are burning through a lot of karma just by being. There's a lot of karma to be burned through in the non-doing. I think people try to avoid their karma just by doing, and by that I mean their karma pulls them into the doing things. But sometimes if you just let go of that programmed impulse and you just allow yourself to be, you'll just start burning up a lot of karma. You'll just feel it coming up, all these programs rooted in fear and scarcity and lack, all these abandonment wounds, a lot of grief. And so sometimes non-action is the most powerful action. Someone on someone's Instagram had this tagline of, being is non-doing action or something. Like there's still, like, being is true power, like David Hawkins, power versus force. And if we're coming from a place of force, it's not a lot of power. And typically, almost, no, always, when we're moving from force, we're moving just from an old program, from the old consciousness, right? But just noticing how much power there is and just letting yourself be as you are, and to just allow yourself to only move when the divine moves you. And the divine could move you into things you don't necessarily want to do on an egoic level too. That's part of it. So it's always having the willingness to, like, drop your ego, to drop all pretenses, to drop all expectations, and just to be a servant of the divine. And, you know, sometimes that can feel really great. Other times it can feel really uncomfortable. Yeah, especially when she's asking you to just be with difficult feelings, to just surrender into her grace when there's all these habitual energies coming up that want you to, you know, chase something or take impulsive action from a place of fear. It's like sometimes it's not that comfortable to be a conduit of grace. That person was clearing their throat. I was just feeling like sometimes it can almost feel like that when we're just sitting here being with difficult feelings, like, oh, like we're just purging, like, oh, we can almost get nauseous. We can get shaky. We can feel ungrounded. Like I said, lots of tears. I feel like we just want to lay in the fetal position, hold ourselves. That's what I want to end the video talking about is there's so much grace in just letting yourself be all the way what you are. Like if you're feeling hopeless, let yourself be all the way hopeless. Like put hopelessness on the altar of the Divine Mother or for the Divine Mother. If you're feeling abandoned, let yourself feel all the way abandoned. If you're feeling just empty of motivation, empty of desire, empty of energy maybe even, and you just feel so empty, just let yourself be empty. It's like letting ourselves go all the way in to these somatic shapes. It's like these are doorways and portals to God. Shame has been a big one. Shame is really triggered by non-doing in Western culture. So we have so much shame around being lazy. We've termed being into lazy, into a negative connotation, which is incredible. That's like how deep this programming runs of enslavement, of just making humans human doings that just need to produce so that a slim majority of people can benefit from their life force, right? It's like just sucking people's life force dry. And so these terms of lazy are born to discourage us from discovering our true nature, which usually happens in a state of being. Because when we discover our true nature, we're no longer easily enslaved. And therefore, our life force can't really be harvested for the benefit of very few. So notice the shame that comes up. You're not only purging your shame, you're purging humanity's shame for just being. Let yourself fall all the way into the shame. Let yourself release the shame from your body for just doing what you're guided to do, for not going against your inner being for once. That's sometimes the price for not going against our inner being. We have to feel shame, the shame of these old programs. We have to feel the fear, the survival fear, the abandonment wounds, the grief. It's almost like we're grieving and mourning the old self as we're just being, that was trying so hard, but was so exhausted and was so run down. You get to rest. Your mission is fulfilled just by being here. You've mission complete. You did it. Fuck, you did it. Good job. All right, much love to you all.